You are welcome to HN What's Your Say? The #1 listening show where we discuss real issues with real people like you. We are still featuring R. Kelly. Real name Robert Sylvester Kelly. Also known as the R&B King. On Tuesday, Jennifer Bonjean on behalf of her client R. Kelly did file a motion, where she requested that either a new trial be granted in Chicago, or that her client be acquitted with immediate effect. In this submission, Bonjean cited two important reasons for her demand, clarifying to court how there was a total lack of evidence that R. Kelly coerced the alleged victims, and that one of the witnesses for which R. Kelly was charged provided false information in court and under oath. Jennifer Bonjean is in total disagreement with the Chicago verdict and made it clear why she feels this way in her submission. According to the appeal champion, while the government made its claims that R. Kelly did indulge with witness Jane, they were not able to prove that R. Kelly did entice and coerce her into being with him. Indeed, there is nowhere in the trial transcript where witness Jane is quoted suggesting that R. Kelly did this. Instead, she mentions how she was advised by her own Aunt Sparkle to seduce him, when she asked her to go sit on his lap, romanticize with him and ask him to become her godfather. While in the indictment the government says R. Kelly did persuade, induce, entice and coerce the alleged victim, there is completely no reference in the trial transcript that suggests this happened. Not from Jane's statements and neither from Pauline's, who also testified against the R&B King. As for accuser Nia, her testimony established that she appeared at R. Kelly's offices uninvited. She actually showed up unannounced with her very own parents. R. Kelly had no advance information that she was coming to his studios, and she did not allege that he induced, compelled or coerced her into anything like the government wants us to believe. Neither can she prove that R. Kelly did invite her to his studios. In fact, according to Nia, once at the location uninvited, she began by having a brief encounter with R. Kelly in the hallway. Casually like this is not the way R. Kelly would meet an invited special guest he intends to lure into anything. According to Bonjean, even though the evidence was taken in the light most favorable for the government, it still failed to satisfy a violation by the defendant. In her submission, Jennifer Bonjean also reflects on the CP charges for which her client R. Kelly was determined guilty by the Chicago court. According to Bonjean, while government presented tape evidence against R. Kelly, they were not able to prove that the said videos were in any way transported in interstate or foreign commerce. She also points out that the said tapes, whose origin is still unknown, had been the subject of the 2008 prosecution for which R. Kelly was duly acquitted. Returning such pieces of evidence is therefore in contradiction of the 2008 ruling in a case that Mr. Kelly beat. There is no way a person should be charged for the same thing twice, as that tantamount to double jeopardy. As we all may know by now, double jeopardy is a procedural defense that prevents a person from being tried again on the same charges following an acquittal or conviction, and in some cases following prosecutorial and judge misconduct in the same jurisdiction. R. Kelly therefore should not have been tried again on this same charge, especially while using the very same evidence as before, that was already disqualified by the same court. Bonjean also adds that while Ms. Wang claims to have received a number of images from what they term as R. Kelly's paneled room, the prosecution failed to prove that the so-called paneled room images were the same images on the government exhibit video. Bonjean's submission continues to say the evidence of interstate and foreign commerce with regard to counts 2 and 3 is very weak. It looks like the government were afraid to incriminate themselves, considering it is alleged that they had been in possession of the exhibit tape evidence since 2002, and Wang claims to have received the images from the same exhibit in 2007. This would mean that the Cook County State Attorney should then be responsible for the distribution of images from the exhibit, eventually making them the guilty ones. According to Bonjean, it was imperative that the government prove that the images in the exhibit were the same images Ms. Wang claims to have received. When it comes to another tape that recently surfaced, the government admitted the exhibit into evidence, which was a VHS tape that came into the custody of the Cook County State Attorney's Office via now felon attorney Michael Avenatti in 2019, who allegedly received it from witness Charles Freeman. This one was however rubbished when it was determined all the people on it had been adults following the bursting of Lisa Van Allen's age scam. It is important to note that while this evidence was finally eliminated and R. Kelly never charged for it, Its presentation and words of Avenatti and Lisa greatly affected R. Kelly's reputation in the public eye, and this has not been accounted for. The first tape evidence, which is now questionable, was wrongfully charged as count 1 and 2 in the Chicago indictment. With no proof of interstate foreign commerce for the contents of this said evidence, a retrial or acquittal is imperative. When you read through Bonjean's filing, you realize that indeed R. Kelly deserves to be acquitted. The government has completely nothing against the R&B king and is simply holding on to evidence that was already vetted out by the same U.S. court back in 2008. Why the court allowed that the rule against double jeopardy be breached is difficult to understand. I guess we can look at this as simply another confirmation that the entire case against Robert was an act of malicious prejudice targeting his destruction, and the assassination of his music career. According to Ladybug, there was no solid evidence that R. Kelly did anything other than sleep with willing grown women. I wonder why the fuss about this, considering almost all people in the industry do this. And this includes actors, musicians, producers and directors of all sorts. There are so many charges R. Kelly was found guilty for that did not fit anywhere in his cases. We hope the appeal court will be quick to address these issues and give R. Kelly the justice he deserves. According to Vivian Taylor, R. Kelly is a wonderful artist and singer that I love so much. Here is my message to you, Robert. I have always been praying for you, both for your well-being and your release. I have always felt that those responsible for what you are going through, and more especially those who lied on you, should go to jail and pay the price for their actions. They were always after the money and nothing else. Thanks to the corruptible justice system that has enabled these greedy people to ruin your life. The court should not be sending citizens to court on mere guesswork with non-conclusive evidence. I love you, Robert, and the entire St. Louis does love you. We play your music day in day out at parties, in our cars and everywhere we get the chance. God will see you through. Just keep trusting Him. If you wish to take part in a live interview on this channel discussing any of these topics, let us know by emailing us on sashahnnewsroom@gmail.com for scheduling. That is all we had for you today on HN What's Your Say? To keep updated whenever we post a new video, subscribe to this channel now. Also remember to hit the bell icon and enable notifications. And feel free to share your opinions with us in the comment section below, and let us know if you would like us to publish your views in our next release. We value all our subscribers' opinions.